You know, my mom always told me not to play in crap when I was a little kid. But this guy right here, Andrew Coleman, is the actual owner of Wastewater Services in Ellington, Connecticut. And I want to thank you for all you've done this year and coming out and helping my clients out. And it's really important, I guess, for buyers to understand that once they're buying, probably one of the most important investments of their life is to actually find out what it's all about, find out about their house. And there's all kinds of inspections that people can do on a home. They can do a normal home inspection. They can do a water inspection. They can do radon. But probably I think one of the most important inspections they could do is their septic inspection, because it's something that nobody ever sees, you know. So tell me a little bit about where you got started, where you're located, and where you're at today with your company.
Sure, Chris. I started the company in the fall of 2005. And I started out with just one older pump truck and a pickup truck. And I slowly started doing pump outs and real estate inspections and some occasional septic installations. As we started to really attack the real estate market and inform people of the importance of septic inspections, we started to grow. Fortunately now I have a fantastic group of employees to do a lot of the work and expand rapidly. My primary focus was to work with the real estate market, agents such as yourself, and with your clients, to explain the importance of having a septic system inspection. And you know, the main fact of it is that a septic system installation can cost $25,000, $30,000. We do them, you know, we put in 60 septic systems a year, and many of them are in the $20,000 range. But more so a homeowner knows what they have beneath the ground, what their septic system is actually doing, where it's located, things like that. But to start off with the inspection process, we like to locate it, see what kind of condition it's in, so they're comfortable in their home purchase moving forward with you and everything else. So that's more or less what we started to do. And
so where are you located today, and what kind of areas do you cover in the state of Connecticut?
Our shop is located in Ellington, Connecticut. We cover the majority of the state. Eventually we will cover the entire state, but for right now we're just staying to the mid part of the state and the eastern part of the state.
And do you have a pretty big crew that you work with? Because I know I'm in most parts of the state, and I know that I recommend you guys to my buyer clients because I always want my buyer clients to have the best inspections. I don't want anything to be left unturned, and I think it's important to them because it's a huge investment. And if they find out that it's bad before they buy the property, they could be saving themselves like 20, 30, 40 grand if the seller's not willing to compensate them. Even if it's a cash buy and somebody's buying it as is, they still want to know what they're up against, because sometimes, you know, it's not just replacing a $5,000 or $6,000 system. They can get pretty expensive. So your crew, I mean, how many people are on your crew?
Sure. We have 8 people on our crew doing various jobs such as inspections, pumping, and actually putting in the systems themselves. Michael Norcross is our main inspector and supervisor who does most of the inspections throughout the day. He's capable of doing 3 to 4 inspections a day, and we try to be very accommodating for last-minute inspections or something changes, closing dates. We'll make it work for you.
Yeah.
So that's what we try to do for any agent, really, is to make it work for them and try to fit it into their busy schedule.
You know, you guys have a great reputation throughout the state of Connecticut. I know that I've talked to other real estate agents that I work with in other companies, and they always have great things to say about you. I've talked to the inland wetlands. I talked to sanitarians. So you're well known throughout the state, and there's a lot of places that I know that you've been for my clients. So I think it's just a class act company. You guys are always prompt when you show up, and it's a testament to you guys in running a solid company that you're there. You get the job done, you clean up after you, and there's a lot that goes into it that most people don't know. I mean, people they sit on the toilet and that's it. That's all they know about it.
Right.
And they don't really want to know about, the septic system. So tell us, what kind of inspection or what your process is when you show up to the house. What is it that you actually have to do a solid septic inspection?
Sure. The first part of the inspection is locating the septic tank. Sometimes the town will have diagrams, measurements to these components. Most of the time they do not.
Yeah.
So we work on finding the septic tank with our fiber optic camera, or just our skills. We'll locate that tank and access it. Once we access the cover in that tank, we'll thoroughly clean it, pump it all out, and then we'll work on locating the leach fields. So being that I mentioned we had a fiber optic sewer camera, we can locate any component of the septic, whether it's under a driveway, under a porch, in the woods. The one we did today was kind of in a pile of brush. Fortunately, we did run the camera out to it and had to hack away a little bit of brush, but we were able to locate everything. So that's, some of the problems we run into. It could be under a driveway, it could be under a deck, a patio, something like that. We have the technology and the equipment now to locate these structures. I guess the biggest part is when we do locate the structures, determining their condition. What kind of condition is the tank in? Does it have cracks? Is it structurally sound? Piping and plumbing under the ground, is it broken, cracked, stuff like that, so the buyer will know what they're working with. And then the next part is determining what the leach field consists of and its current condition. The benefit to the camera as well, we can determine previous conditions as well. So if it's vacant, such as this home here, and the homeowner didn't have it pumped out and didn't maintain it and it was failing, we can determine that with our camera system. We also like to inform the buyer. We give them a nice presentation on site, walk them through it step by step, whether they want to hear it or not. We try to give them all the information on site, show them everything and how it all works so they can kind of understand in their head how it all works from the toilet out into the leach fields into the soil. So with all this, we give them a 5-page septic inspection report. We email that to them. We have a diagram with measurements to all the components that we find, as well as excellent digital photographs of the components. That way, if there is a problem or something that's broken or needs to be upgraded, we have good documentation of that for you guys to negotiate. So.
Tell me how important, there's a couple things that you mentioned. One is that the digital camera that you actually will put down into the bowels of the septic system, if you will. And, that camera, I've been on sites where another buyer on one of my listings, they show up with, a septic company and they open the tank and they stick a mirror and that's it. Where you guys are different, I've seen, is you take the camera, which kind of reminds me of a couple months ago when I was sitting on the table at the hospital and I had the same kind of looking camera with about 6 or 7 feet of, cord. And so it made me kind of nervous when I see those things coming out, but you really get to determine really what's down inside where you can't really get to sometimes.
Absolutely. We feel the days of just running some water and saying yes or no, pass or fail, are over. Due to the fact that septic systems are very costly to replace, having that camera technology to view the inner workings of it gives you a snapshot of the current condition, but previous years as well. So that's why when we first started doing inspections, we started with that. I tried to be as thorough as possible, and we have gotten better over the years with our documentation and also the technology of the camera systems and things like that.
And then the other thing that you mentioned was this report. How is your report? You talked about a 5-part report. How is that different than, say, that pass or fail? And is that report something that people need to have? I mean, is that important, that report?
Absolutely. We feel that it is very important. Even if the system is in perfect condition, we document every part of it, whether it's in good shape, rough shape, anything in between. For a couple reasons. We want the homeowner to have this documentation of the current condition and things that we found at the day we inspected it. Also, the mapping and the diagram with measurements is very important as well, we feel, and the pictures to go along with that. Now, it's most important if there is a slight problem or major problem with that system, having it documented for negotiating and seeing what the problems are with it, and as well as troubleshooting. The point of the inspection is not necessarily to figure out exactly what's wrong with it if it's involved, but sometimes we can work towards troubleshooting and list the recommendation if there's a problem, what we can do to alleviate that problem and move forward with the transaction. And our deal, we want to make everybody feel comfortable with the system, buyers and sellers and agents, and try to list everything for them in easy to understand terms.
I think that's important, especially when I have buyer clients, is to make sure they're informed and make sure they know what they're buying. But again, you guys are a class company. You're a class act. You're professional. You guys, again, show up on time. How does somebody outside of the real estate, agent maybe, that wants to send them some recommendations of a septic company, how are they getting in touch with you? How can they find you?
Sure. The best way to do it would be by calling our toll-free number, 866-PUMP-360, or local 860-871-2616, or our website, which is www.wastewaterllc.com. We come up in many of the searches around the areas, and we're ever so growing across the state. We're pretty easy to find. Our website is very informative with pictures and our inspection processes, and we're there to service you. So any questions, concerns, even if you're just poking around the idea of purchasing a home that has a septic, we're there to work for you and answer all your questions. Whether you hire us or you don't, we try to make you informed prior to purchase.
Yeah, you guys really have a well put together company. You know, you wonder what you're going to aspire to be, and I think it's an important process in the home buying process that people have this done. So what you've done by taking your company, and I'm watching it grow over the last couple of years, it's a phenomenal company. I'm glad I'm not doing it. I'm glad I'm not there opening the covers and nobody wants to see it. But again, I want to thank you for all the the services that you've done for my buyer clients, and I want to thank you for what you do.
Sure. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks.